There are 50 states in the Union, but let's be honest, only one that really matters. I'm a proud Floridian, and I truly believe that this state and its people are the definition of American exceptionalism. And to be a certified Floridian, you need to have grown up here in Florida. We do things a little differently down here. For example, I remember in preschool we used to have alligator safety lessons, where some guy would come into a class of toddlers with a live 3-foot-long alligator with just its mouth duct taped shut to teach us basic alligator safety like don't feed or touch alligators and to never play with them. The only thing I really remembered from his class was that if you ever find yourself being chased by an alligator, you should always run away in a zigzag because it's probably drunker than you are. Now, besides wrestling animals that could tear your limbs apart if it wanted to, a major part of the Florida experience is swimming. Seeing as how we're surrounded by water on all three sides, it's a pretty popular sport down here, especially at the beach. As long as you learn how to swim, stay in known areas with lifeguards, and generally you know what you're doing, it's a pretty safe activity. Yet some people are still hesitant to jump in the water. I've talked with many, and apparently it's mainly because of a fear of the deep or unknown, as if some massive kraken could come up at any moment, wrap you in its tentacles, and devour you whole. I don't know, that sounds pretty hot to me, but I guess to each their own. Fantasies aside, most of the swimming I've done in my life actually comes from competitive swimming, and most of that time was just spent practicing. And while you can usually tell a competitive swimmer apart from a casual one just by looking at either sides of the pool, I'd argue that the biggest differences will be in their state of mind. For example, despite the fact that public pools will usually have a bathroom very close to the water, most casual swimmers don't care and just pee in the water anyway. On the other hand, when my team would be in the water, we'd usually practice for about 2 hours, and between that and the fact that our metabolism would be working at full power, most of us will go through a liter of water by the end of practice. Keep in mind, we are usually swimming in a pretty tight line, which creates a current carrying water directly from the genitals of the person in front of you to your face and then the person behind you. So in order to make sure that the water we were swimming in and sometimes accidentally swallowing every day didn't contain literal liters of my urine, I'd have to take a quick break every so often to run to the bathroom. Now one day I noticed that I've never seen my teammates go because they were so focused on spending every minute of practice in the pool. I wanted to know what their secret was, so I went up to one of my friends and asked him how everyone managed to keep it in all practice. Beyond just having the mental discipline to practice, swimming takes a bit of thoughtfulness too. A lot of the sport actually revolves around being hydrodynamic, or making sure that your body can move as smooth and fast as possible, which is why you can always find a jar of Vaseline in the boys' locker room. That means we'd spend most of our time in practice learning how to improve our technique through drills, instead of mindlessly moving through the water like a dirty casual. My coach would always tell us to think and ask questions while swimming, like how should I be moving through the water, how often should I take a stroke, and how can this drill help me get faster in the pool. And I guess the mental workout would have been helpful in learning new techniques, but I wouldn't know. As the least athletic kid on the team, between the physically demanding sets and oxygen deprivation, the only thing I'd ever wonder about was how my ancestors stayed in the gene pool.